Hi guys! Today's video is inspired by Nicole over at Nix and Nax. I will leave a link to her channel in the description box down below. But she did a video recently on her favourite childhood movies and I absolutely loved it. I thought that it was such a good idea for a video. It's such a nice kind of nostalgic video to make. And so I decided that I wanted to make my own, and since I still live at home with my parents, I have access to my entire childhood video collection. Now I know what you're thinking, Lynsey, why have you held on to all of your childhood videos for your entire life? You're 26. People don't watch videos anymore, they watch DVDs. That's an excellent question. We have a cupboard that is absolutely full to the brim, like 3 rows deep. That made selecting the films for this particular video somewhat tricky because I have so many to choose from. I had to actually stop myself halfway through going through the videos because I could have been there all day and just go with the ones that I picked. Now even at that, there are a lot, so I'm going to stop waffling on and I'm just going to get straight into it. So first up, we obviously have the Disney movies, and I loved all of them when I was a child. We had like most of them on video and I watched them all constantly. But I only brought 2 through because I thought, no, don't bring through the entire collection or that will be a video in and of itself. So first up, we have a classic and a very, very firm favourite for me, Beauty and the Beast. Now here it is in all its video VCR glory. That's what the tape looks like inside. Oh, look. Is that the beginning? Good, that shows that I, rewound it before I watched it again. But we had these on repeat, like, for my entire childhood. So that's Beauty and the Beast, and another film favourite, The Little Mermaid. Again, with the, oh look, it's got a yellow Walt Disney thing with Mickey on the inside. And again, rewound to the beginning, very responsible. We watched the Disney films on like a loop, and those were 2 of my absolute favourites. Next up, we have a festive favourite, but now for me as an adult, it's a festive favourite that I only watch at Christmas. Whereas when my brother and I were children, we watched this all year round. Like, we'd come home from school at lunchtime because our school was quite close, and we'd come home for lunch and we'd watch this as our like lunchtime viewing pretty much on a monthly basis, and that is the Santa Claus. This film I think is really underrated. I know that a lot of people do like it, but there's something so magical and just wonderful about this film that every time I watch it, even now as an adult, it just makes me feel like ultimate Christmassy. It's just got that lovely idea of not wanting to lose your kind of childhood belief in magic and believing in Santa, and everything is just, it's just so lovely. So this is actually quite an appropriate film for this video because it's all about that kind of childhood nostalgia. So this is excellent. If you've never by any chance seen this film before, please watch it. It is on Netflix now, I noticed the other day, which is great. So definitely go and watch it. Next we have a film that I haven't seen for years but was one of the ones that, again, my brother and I watched on an absolute loop as children. It's a comedy, it's insane, but it's so good, and it is Mouse Hunt. This film stars Nathan Lane and Lee Evans as 2 sort of, well, they describe them in the back as down on their luck brothers who inherit this old fallen apart mansion, which they then discover is actually worth millions. And in trying to do it up and trying to get it into a state that is reflective of the amount of money that it is worth, they find a mouse in the house. Obviously it's very old, it's fallen apart, there's probably been lots of mice in there, but this one mouse is super intelligent and evades them at every turn, every time they try and catch it, everything they do. And it starts off, your standard kind of small scale traps and whatever, and this mouse is just having none of it, and then throughout the film their attempts to kill this mouse just get bigger and crazier and more extreme. And it also stars Christopher Walken as someone who they hire to kind of come and get rid of him as a sort of pest control sort of guy. Just always made me happy as a child, so I kind of want to go and watch this now because it's been so long since I've seen it. Next we have one that I actually haven't watched for a while because I think that now it'll probably make me quite sad, but that is The Parent Trap. This film was just one of these kind of iconic childhood movies for people of my generation, and I haven't actually watched it since Natasha Richardson died because I think I'd find it quite sad. But I just love this film, and I saw a little clip of it on TV the other day. I saw the bit when they were at camp and they just kind of started to piece everything together, and they're having that conversation saying, we're both born on October 11th and you don't have a mum and I don't have a dad, and they look identical, and they're kind of figuring out that they're twins. And I mean, not that it would be hard, but it's just such a lovely film, and I think this film has a really good soundtrack and it's very well acted all round. Love this classic film of the 90s. Next up we have one that is just a really beautiful film, and that is Fairy Tale. This is a film which is, as it says on the front, based on a true story about two young girls, Florence and Elsie, who during World War I claimed to have captured photographs of fairies in their garden. The whole film really is basically an exploration into whether or not this is real, whether it's a hoax, whether these photographs are real, whether there are fairies, and it just all is this kind of idea of if you choose to believe in something and what it means to believe in something, and that sort of childhood strong belief in these things versus adult kind of cynicism, sort of along the lines of the Santa Claus, I guess. And it's just really beautiful. I remember that, I haven't again seen this for years, but I remembered that it was really beautifully shot, and there were lots of lovely scenes in the garden amongst the trees and stuff when they were obviously out sort of chasing the fairies around sort of thing, and oh, it's just lovely. Next we have one that I won't spend too much time on because you all know that I love this one. Anastasia. Every single line, every single song lyric, every beat and pause between the sort of banter between Anya and Dimitri. I know this film inside out and it's just one of the best, so I really want to watch this now actually, but I could watch this anytime, like anytime. In a similar Lost Princess vein, we have The Princess Diaries, starring the wonderful Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews, and this film is just like, again, this is another one that now, even at 26, I could easily just watch over and over again. I loved the books. When I was a kid, I read all of the Princess Diaries books. I absolutely loved them. They had, I think because it was that sort of diary format, it felt like you were very connected to the character. I just loved her. I wanted Mia to be my friend. I just enjoyed the book so much that when they were bringing out the film, even as a young child, I was sort of like, I hope this is good. And then it was, and it was amazing, and Anne Hathaway, just look how young she is. She was just absolutely fantastic, and still love it, still love both of them actually. As bizarre as the second film was, I did still love it, but this one's definitely my favourite. Another one that's sort of similar, I guess, to the fairy tale film is The Secret Garden. Again, this was one that we watched over and over again, and it's just, again, a really visually lovely film, which I think you probably don't appreciate quite as much when you're a child. This film is based on the book and tells the story of Mary, who's an orphan who goes to stay in this sort of very odd, mysterious mansion where she has a cousin who's unwell and he's not able to go outside, or he thinks he's not able to go outside, he thinks he has to stay in bed all the time. And the boy, who either lives next door or he's kind of the child of one of the staff of the house, or I can't remember who he is actually, but there's a boy who also lives there. And Mary discovers this beautiful garden outside the grounds of the house, or within the grounds of the house, that kind of becomes her sort of special place, and it's just beautiful, and it's a lovely kind of story about friendship and exploring the ideas of friendship, and just set in this beautiful garden. So this is a lovely film. Next we have Matilda, because obviously couldn't have a video like this without Matilda getting mentioned. Again, this is one that I think has an amazing soundtrack, an incredible cast. They're all just absolutely outstanding. It just has such strong characters. Obviously it's based on a book by Roald Dahl, so it's going to have that very vivid characterisation and that sort of strong sense of imagination that come with his books, but the film is just excellent, and I think Mara Wilson was perfect, and there are just some scenes in that I will never forget, like seeing as a child and being like, oh, like when she's in the house and Miss Honey's trying to pretend that she's not there and the Trunchbull's there, and yeah, it's amazing. I will also never forget the scene with the chocolate cake, because even though I watched this film a million times, it still creeped me out every time I watched it. Next we have a kind of sad one. Well, it's not sad, but it's sad and happy and magical and all of that wrapped into one. It's Casper. Casper the movie was just amazing. Christina Ricci was really good in this film actually as a child. I'm pretty sure everyone knows the story of Casper and that he's a ghost. But what I just liked about this film, because my brother and I might actually do another video on kind of childhood TV shows that we really loved, but my brother and I were very much fans of Casper when we were children. And so we watched like the cartoons over and over again, and what I liked about this was because it wasn't the sort of animation, well, not full on animation, it was the sort of live action version, and you got this kind of like backstory and stuff, It was just really lovely and kind of sad and lovely and heartwarming all at the same time. It probably wouldn't be an accurate children's movie fest without mentioning Robin Williams. This is Jumanji. Oh, this film is just so good. Robin Williams, as always, is just totally on point. And it's just, again, one of these very kind of magical adventure sort of fantasy movies that just takes you completely out of the real world and just sort of throws you into this complete fantasy, which is what every good kids movie should do. Second last, I had to throw one of these in because these were ones that we really loved. We loved all of the ScoobyDoo films. So ScoobyDoo was another one of our favourite TV shows, so we watched like all the old cartoons. We had them, like we taped them off TV and stuff, but they did the kind of like series of films, and there were loads of them. My absolute favourite was the Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, which I can't find anywhere, but it is somewhere in the house. But very close second to that was Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island. This was so good. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous to be talking about an old Scooby-Doo child's movie as saying how good it was, but it was really creepy actually, and as the title would suggest, there were zombies in it. And all the characters were very much kind of in their element in this particular film. So you had Velma kind of on the quest to figure out what was going on, and Daphne and Fred. We hated Fred for some reason. We just like really couldn't stand him, and always sort of ranted about how we wished he just would go away. But this was a really good one, and there were lots more. There was The Witch's Ghost. There was one where they got trapped in a video game, which I forget the name of, but it was really good. The Boo Brothers, so they moved into a house where there were these ghosts who lived there. I think that was one that was just Scooby and Shaggy actually. But yeah, there were loads, so we loved them. We had most of them, and we just loved to watch them, so loved that. And last but not least, this is one that will probably only mean anything to you if you were a child in the UK in the 90s. This is Chums. Now, if you grew up in the 90s in the UK, you probably watched SMTV Live or were aware of SMTV Live, the Saturday morning ITV kids show, basically, presented by these three, so Ant and Dec, who are like a global phenomenon, and Cat Deeley, and so the three of them presented the show, and they had little kind of segments throughout it that got repeated each week. So you had Challenge Ant, if anyone remembers that, and Wonky Donkey, and various other things. But one of my favourite segments was Chums, which was their spoof of Friends, starring these three, and oh, like this was hilarious. And we, oh I'm just reading the back now because I forgot about this. I forgot about what some of these titles were. The one with Lorraine Kelly, the one with Ant's mad Uncle Jerry, the one about Ant's stag party. So it was kind of like very much tied into the way that Friends was. It was just a total spoof, but it was so good. And I think what the story was, if I remember it right, was that Dec was in love with Cat, but Cat wasn't in love with Dec, or something like that. I can't remember, but it was so good. So if you grew up in the 90s in the UK and you remember Chums, give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments section down below, because this is just classic UK 90s television. So I'm going to leave it there because I could talk about children's films and children's shows and videos and whatever till the cows come home, and I still would not be content because there's so much to say. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and let me know in the comments down below what some of your favourite childhood films were. If you liked this video and you would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will be back soon with another video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye! At the end of September, so this is quite a late September favourite, but I discovered that season 3 of Orphan Black was on BBC iPlayer. Now, I've been waiting for